Okay, so tonight I was driving down the road going to the store, and I came across this scene where these guys were beating a dude on the side of the road. And I pulled up, and what I'm going to do is I've cut the video down to be like 4 or 5 minutes instead of 30 minutes, because it's mostly in Spanish, and I'm going to translate / paraphrase, so it's kind of quick and easy as we go through it. If you understand Spanish, you can do that. Ya basta de pegarlo.
¿Le vas a ayudar? ¿Vas a defenderlo?
Cálmate. Estoy defendiendo justicia. Now listen, I'm a photographer by trade. I'm a journalist. I always, of course, have a phone on me, but I have a real camera on me, too. There's always this idea of like, oh, why'd you just film and not do anything? And I tend to agree. I do something. A journalist doesn't just mean stopping and watching people be abused. The best journalists are activists as well. And sure, that can be risky at times, but sometimes you have to say, you know what, no. And sometimes all it takes, I think in most lynch mobs, if a few people would just be the voice of reason and say, you know what, no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Nope. It would just jar people enough. Now, what we see tonight didn't go that far. And that's good, but it should never go far. But it does because people just stand and watch. And these days, they just stand and watch with a camera. And I'm saying don't stand and watch. It doesn't matter what people tell you. It doesn't matter if they say they deserve it. That is not justice. And when I'm there, that's not how we're going to operate. And I hope that you would do the same in this situation. Because what I saw tonight, yeah, I was a little scared. And yeah, it was a little intimidating. But I don't feel bad about what I did. I did the right thing, and I did it with calm. And I hope that what we learn from talking about this is that is what we should do. Because the government's not protecting us. The police aren't protecting us. And so our solution then is, well, we have to stand up for ourselves. Yes, but we have to stand up for justice. We can't just decide what justice is based on the level of our anger. And that's what's happening way too much in this violent world. Yes, we have constitutions. Yes, we have laws. But we keep saying, look, the police are useless. They're too busy extorting us to actually stop any crime. That is largely true. They're too busy extorting us to actually show up. That's largely true, and it was tonight. I stood around, and I don't know how long this had gone on before I got there. I stood for 30 minutes watching them beat this guy who was accused of stealing, and here's what happened. And this is what happens when we don't have a justice system. And let's just kind of walk and talk, and you guys tell me what you think, all right? So here I am rolling up. They're hitting me. I didn't do anything. What's going on here?
No, eso no se vale.
That's not okay. He was stealing. Detain him.
No, es así la justicia, amigo.
This isn't justice. It's not something that you do in private.
No va a ser así.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. He was stealing wood. I understand.
Entiendo.
I understand.
Sí, los rateros están bien mal ahora.
The thieves are bad and they're everywhere.
No estoy poniendo en la lado de él, solo
I'm not on his side.
Pasó algo mal porque
I just don't want anything bad to happen. I just don't want anything bad to happen.
I know, but they're gonna... No sé, no, también nunca llega. Yo sé que son, ellos son
the police never come. They're thieves too. So at this point I got out of the car because they were just getting pretty aggressive. My hand is broken. My hand is broken. Wait. So they're hitting him. Now Sandra also turned on her camera to back me up now that I was out of the car.
Jefe, espérame. Un día agarró un carrito de Soriana, perro. Jefe. Y le dan una chinga. Es que dejalo ya. Pinche ratero. Yo nunca...
Pinche thief.
Mi jefe me lo dijo.
I'm gonna tie you up. I'm gonna tie you up. Roll over.
Ya, mi mano, la tengo rota. La tengo rota, la tengo rota. La tengo rota, la tengo rota.
My hand's broken. My hand's broken.
Ya, tengo rota mi mano.
I gotta be honest.
Tengo rota mi mano.
I wasn't feeling good about any of this.
No, nunca he robado ya. No, nunca me vieron robando.
He said, I didn't rob anybody. I didn't rob anybody.
Tengo tablas rotas, ¿dónde te
Mi
las
mano
llevaste,
está...
güey?
No, nunca me he
Llevaste la
robado.
cartera.
puta mano para trabajar, hijo de la
Ya, ya basta de pegarlo.
Stop. I'm not hitting.
¡Vas a defenderlo!
Are you gonna defend him?
Justicia.
I'm defending the justice.
Ya nunca he robado.
No,
Acabo de tratar de matar.
¿Cómo vamos
¡Lo vas a defender!
Are you gonna defend him?
Solo están defendiendo que ponemos la cama. Yeah, speak English.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
I'm just defending the law. You know, I think it's really important to understand this. And I've said this for years. And I'm so tired of everyone just sitting and watching abuse, watching the police abuse. Now, I've always had a camera. A camera is a great way to protect yourself. When people know they're being filmed, they do behave differently. People say, you shouldn't stop. It's none of your business. You shouldn't meddle. And that's even harder when you're in another culture. I don't try and be an activist here. And I think you always want to be the calmest voice in the room when everything is going to shit. But one thing I'm not going to tolerate, and one thing I won't have, is people just doing whatever they want and deciding what justice is in the moment when they're angry. That's not justice. It's not law. And we got where we are by allowing a government who corrupts justice, by allowing police who corrupt justice, and by allowing abuse. Okay, but let's come back because there's a couple more minutes here.
Talk in English.
So you're gonna defend this guy?
Are you going to
I'm defending, solo defending having calm. I don't know what he did. I wasn't here. But you're going to regret later just beating him. How's that help
No, yo
us?
quiero que entienda y que la gente vea que hay garrateros que se los va a cargar la
Sí,
verga.
está bien
The
feo,
thieves need to understand. They need to understand.
Que tenemos que...
Deberemos de matarlos a la verga.
No.
We need to kill these thieves is what we need to do.
Solo
No,
quiero que
we're not
estamos
doing
con
that.
calma. México nunca hará
I just want us to be
adelante si
calm.
no ponemos calma y justicia.
We'll never progress if we don't have
Yo
justice
sé
and
que son
calm.
bien inútiles. Ya, entiendo. Estoy
I
de
understand.
acuerdo.
The police are useless.
No, te lo juro que no. Te lo juro que no. No. Ya, cálmate. Ya, calma.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Mi mano la tengo rota. Mi mano la tengo rota. Mi mano la tengo rota.
My hand's broken. I don't know if it actually was. Who is he? Is that my brother? Ah, it's not her brother. Now she doesn't care. As long as it's not somebody belonging to her, she doesn't care if it's unjust. I thought it was my drunk brother, she says. If he was drunk, it wouldn't be a problem. But he's stealing.
Yo sé. Solo tenemos, esta línea es muy fino, tenemos que
This line
mucho
is very
cuidado en
fine.
eso.
This line is fine.
¿Sabes cuántos lynches tienen en México por esta mamada?
We have these
Pero
lynchings
luego la persona ni
for
está
these
culpable.
things. And then the person's not even guilty. We're not doing that, is
Eso
what I
es que
said.
yo, que llevo. Ay, ya no me estoy...
Does it seem like justice? What if this was your kid?
No. Es suficiente. Cálmate. Ya me voy. Pasa, amigo. Con cuidado.
Now, this is after the police showed up, and I know that the police are pretty well useless, and everybody is pissed at the police because not only did they not show up, so this guy got beat for 30 minutes, right? So we take justice into our own hands, right? Because the police never do anything. But then people that get accused of this stuff and they're stealing from, well, they just get let go. But yes, that does happen. I hear this in the States too, but you got to have evidence. I don't care. And this goes back to the fundamentals of law. People say that I'm an idiot, that I'm a fool, that I'm a meddler, that I'm woke. These are people that don't have any understanding of justice, of constitutions, of due process. This is not stuff I invented. This is Blackstone. This is the Founding Fathers. This is the Constitution. This is John Locke. Literally, the principle of our law and our justice system is it is better that 10 guilty escape than one innocent suffer. And everyone always tells me when it's them that has somebody accused, when it's them that's been victimized, when it's them that's been robbed, no, they don't deserve justice. No, they don't deserve due process. I hear this with immigrants. I hear it with thieves. I hear it with people accused of grave crimes. It's bullcrap. Everyone. Everyone deserves justice. You know how this stuff ends? You know how this stuff ends? When you don't step in, here's how it ends. Here's a story from Mexico. They beat and burned a man alive, a poor man, because he stole broccoli. Because he stole broccoli. Now, Mexico, lynchings are fairly popular. They happen a couple times a year, where these lynch mobs, just like this. And people say to me when I intervene, oh, it's nothing, that's just how we do it here. Do you know how lynch mobs happen? Because it's how we do it. Do you know how lynch mobs happen? Because everyone just stands around. Everyone just stands around and they don't do anything. So how do you stop a lynch mob? You stand between them. And you say, no, no, no. Now, I didn't try to be like the super meddler. I didn't come in screaming like a Karen. I'm not saying that somebody who stole something shouldn't get a couple thumps, but it really shouldn't be on the street. See, these prison sentences are useless. Let's not pretend that sentencing someone to prison actually fixed the problem. We'd be better off going back to 10 lashes of the whip on the post or a day of the stocks in the public square than locking people in a concrete cell for 6 months. That doesn't fix them. It just makes things worse. See, we have a problem. People think since the government isn't just, that therefore we'll decide in the moment what is justice. And when we decide in the moment what is justice, it almost always is injustice. You cannot be the person that's accusing another person as well as judge, jury, and executioner of that same person. That will never, ever be justice, because even if you were wronged, your perspective will be skewed 100% of the time. Now, this guy is saying, okay, his friend threw a rock at me, right? He could have killed me. All right, that's valid. He's saying he stole this stuff. Look, they stole wood and they stole these tubes. Now, I drove by and it was kind of a house in construction. Now, this doesn't excuse people stealing stuff. And I know we're all sick of thieves. I've had stuff stolen from me too, many times. Down here in the US as well. And you know what? Everybody says like, oh no, it's, you're not the one that's been robbed. You're not the one that's been wrong. Well, guess what? I have been many times. Not once when someone's stolen from me did I want to just hurt them. What I want them to do is I want them to be held accountable in some way. I want them to have to pay restitution, but it doesn't help them to be locked in a cell. That doesn't bring justice. It doesn't bring my stuff back. You see, we're not talking about justice anymore. And this is what's happening with all these cases of left against right, of party against party, of brother against son, of all of us fighting. They give us more and more ridiculous things to hate each other over, that one party supports this and the other party supports that. And what we're not realizing is the people that we're saying have authority over justice are the most unjust criminals of all. So what do? We just beat people to death on the street. Now listen, let's be clear. And when I rolled up on this, I got to say, when I rolled up on this, these people were standing around, right? These people were standing around when I rolled up on this, and I was like, okay, this doesn't look good. And so I stopped. And instead of just standing around, you know what happened when I rolled up? It kind of was shameful to me, because I rolled up and all these people were standing around watching this happen, right? All these people are just kind of standing around watching them beat this guy, right? And when I started speaking and pointing the camera and saying I wouldn't turn it off, this whole crowd of people that was watching, they ran away and shrunk back over into the shadows.
No, solo quiero con calma y que no estamos un lincha. No, amigo. Tuyo también va a ser contable a la ley.
Now, I also want to come back, though, to this guy that claims to have been robbed. And everybody's sick of the thieves. And yeah, there's a lot of them. I get that. It pissed me off, too. I'm not actually blaming him. He's sick of getting robbed and he's pissed off and the police don't do anything. And so everybody's kind of standing around like, the guy probably deserves it. We're sick and tired of thieves. Yeah, this is what they need. But that's how a lynch mob starts. If you let yourself have that mindset of we're gonna take justice into our own hands and we're just gonna do this without any process. I didn't see the thief steal anything. I don't know for sure. Do I think the guy was probably lying and he probably did steal something? Yeah. He was probably guilty of petty theft.
Let's talk in English.
Does it matter?
So you
No.
want to defend this guy?
I'm solo defending having calm. I don't know what he did. I wasn't here. But you're going to regret later just beating him. How's that help
No, yo
us?
quiero que entienda y que la gente vea Que haya rateros que se los va a cargar la
Sí,
verga.
está bien feo las rateras, pero hay un límite.
The way you stop a lynch mob is you have a pair of balls, as Stephen Ruth said when he started knocking out traffic cameras in New York 10 years ago. You have a pair of balls, and you don't just stand and watch. You step in, and you get in their way. Now, I'll be honest, I was scared. I didn't want to get out of the car. But when they kept beating this guy, I'm like, this is not okay. This is not how we're going to do it. And as I said when I came up, I said to them, you know what? We have laws. We have justice. It's almost Independence Day, and that's not how we're celebrating it. You see, I'm not just protecting the person being accused of theft. This guy and his friends that were pissed because someone stole from them, maybe they were justifiably pissed. They probably were. And so I'm not really saying that they're the devil in this either. But we need to have more control. I still am ashamed that this is how we resolve things. I'm ashamed that everyone stands around watching a guy get beaten when they don't know the facts. This is how people get gas poured on them and lit up. This is how people get beaten to death. Did that happen here? No. Would it have happened? I hope not. Probably not. And yet, every lynch mob starts something like this, with people standing around saying nothing. People that don't have the values and the courage because they say it's none of my business. Well, guess what? It's your business, and it's my business. Law is life, liberty, and property. It's due process, and it's justice. And it's not created by governments. It's created by men and women that have the values, and the brass ones, to stand up and say, you know what? We're not savages. We're not a lynch mob, and we're not going to behave that way. Now, again, people have a right to be sick and tired of this. And that's why I tried to keep the calm and didn't just go in freaking out because a few punches have been thrown. Because Mexico's a lot more wild, wild west, but this stuff happens all over the world. But when they kept doing it, I said, you know what? No. And it worked. Because I had a camera. Because I was calm. Because I was clear that I was not there to defend thieves. I just wanted us to be calm. Now, could I have gotten hurt? Could you get hurt for stopping a lynch mob? Yeah, especially if you come in late. But I think if you stand up and you step in early, if people would start growing a pair and defending justice instead of just what feels good in the moment because they're mad and the community's mad and they're tired of this, and actually think about, what if that was my son or my brother down there getting beat up? If you have a pair of balls and a few guys just stand up and say, nope, we're not doing that, like we did tonight in this video, maybe we'd start to learn how to defend justice. That's just my thoughts on it. I hope you learned something. That's what I did tonight.